Jewish voters voted overwhelmingly for Democrat Joe Biden in the recent U.S. presidential elections, in line with historic voting patterns of the community. According to Jay Ruderman, president of the Ruderman Family Foundation, the Biden administration is expected to have strong connections with mainstream American Jewish organizations, which in turn will also play a role in the ties with Israel.
The Jewish vote historically is overwhelmingly Democratic, and I think the results show that Biden got 70% of the vote. I think you can juxtapose that to what Israelis, how they view Trump, and there's a real dichotomy there.
Now, this will not be the first Democratic administration that the Israeli government, and it's been the Israeli government led by Prime Minister Netanyahu for many years now, has engaged with. Prime Minister Netanyahu has congratulated Joe Biden while also expressing his gratitude for Donald Trump. How do you see this affiliation or this association or this rebuilding of relations taking place, and is there a role of the Jewish American community in this interplay?
Well, I think the Jewish American community is vital. I mean, Trump, his positions, his connections with Israel were really run out of the White House, with very little connection with mainstream Jewish organizations. Biden, who has been in office for almost 50 years, has long-standing connections with the American Jewish community, and I think that those connections will be extremely vital for Biden. In fact, the one time that I had some time alone with Biden, he told me that growing up, he had closer connections to Jewish families in his neighborhood than he did Catholic families. So I think that he's deeply connected to the Jewish community, and historically, he's been extremely pro-Israel in his voting. I do think that there's an issue that Netanyahu had a very close relationship with Trump, and the relationship between Netanyahu and the United States was tense with Obama. So I think that there are some amends to be made, in this relationship on a geopolitical level. But I think the American Jewish community will play an oversized role in the Biden administration.
Now, there are many organizations and groups that represent the different streams and interests of the Jewish American community. So how do you see all of that fitting together?
Well, I mean, if you look at Biden, someone who's been in politics for so long and has had these historical relationships, I think he's going to identify American Jewish support, with Israel. And, our polling has shown that, the overwhelming majority of American Jews are pro-Israel and support a strong relationship between the United States and Israel. I just don't think it has been a factor in this past election. Our recent, white paper with Professor Gil Troy showed that for only 4% of American Jews, Israel was the overriding, issue. But you have to remember, American Jews are very assimilated into the American society. They're third, fourth, fifth generation Americans. And this was a very polarizing election in America. I mean, you had issues that were really at the forefront, the handling of COVID-19 by the administration, how people reacted to that, the fear of COVID-19 and how that was being handled by the government, the economy and how the economy was being affected, racial injustice in America, which emerged as a big issue in this campaign. And I think also the erratic nature of Trump as a person and the exhaustion. I mean, if I would, talk to people before and after the election, I think most Americans on both sides are exhausted. And I think all those factors led to Biden being, reelected. But, whereas I said before, where Trump was sort of running policy towards Israel in the Middle East out of the White House without a lot of consultation of the American Jewish community, I think Biden will be the exact opposite.
And stepping away a bit from the political relations between the governments and looking at relations between the American Jewish community and Israel. And certainly the pandemic has created even a physical barrier in terms of engagement. Do you see a continuing drifting apart between these two communities, or are there ways to bridge them?
I really don't see the drifting apart. I know a lot is made out of that. I know people talk about the left wing of the Democratic Party. I know they talk about, younger Jews being, more to the left. But I think by and large, American Jews understand that Israel is the Jewish state, that they are tied to the Jewish state, that it's important to them. Travel to Israel, engagement with Israel remains a positive part of people's lives and an important part of people's lives. And I think it's difficult during, Corona, but I think that, it is continuing. Programs are continuing, and I think that they'll pick up even after Corona. So I don't see any weakening between the American Jewish community and Israel. There may be policy differences that come up, but this is where I think the American Jewish community will play an important role.
Jay Ruderman, president of the Ruderman Family Foundation.